Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station.
The destination featured this week is slightly unusual. Find out why you should visit, what you can do and what you can eat when you go to the Faroe Islands for your next holiday. That's all coming up on the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Hello and welcome to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. I'm really going to have to move my studio to a ground floor room or get fit because going up the stairs to record this is killing me, so I'm a little bit breathless. I'm very sorry. I'll try to leave it as long as I can before I start talking, but it's not worked this time. I'm a little bit unfit. But anyway, as I mentioned in the beginning, the Faroe Islands are the destination featured this week on the John Guinn Travel Show. I won't do the person's name because you know what I'm like. I can't pronounce anything. So she's going to be introducing herself, which is probably the safest thing to do. And the travel news includes a couple of plane crashes, but not the one that's been in the news, although that one is featured in the news as well. And a little thing about airport passenger duty, which will probably make no difference to anybody when it comes to looking at the price of their holiday. But the government thinks it's important and it's doing you a good deal. Perhaps it is, perhaps it isn't. But you can always let me know at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. While I was at Luton Airport this week, I met a couple of mechanical engineers for one of the Formula One race teams. I won't say which one because then I'd have to say that other race teams are available. But they travel an awful lot because of work. And I saw some families going off to their Easter holidays, where just this one trip for the year has caused a lot of stress and anxiety and aroused, judging by the couples or the families that are walking through. So what about you? Do you travel a lot for work? Has it changed getting on a plane, going from A to B to something as mundane as just commuting to work, getting on a train, getting on a bus? Or do you still get excited when you're going to somewhere new? Or just the fact that you're flying? Or does the thought of going away with your family make you come out in a cold sweat and you get all ratty and irritated like one of the two of the dads I saw a few days ago? Let me know either way. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. But as I said, the destination this week is the Faroe Islands, so let's get straight into it and get the person I spoke to introduce herself. But I'd just like to let you know that this was a telephone conversation from the UK to the Faroe Islands, so every now and again the audio does get a little bit scratchy, but please do stick with it because there's some great information being shared. Could you just explain who you are, please?
My name is Guri Højgaard, and I am the tourism director for these wonderful islands called the Faroe Islands. I recently moved back to the Faroe Islands after living abroad for 20 years. But I was born and raised here, and it's very, very exciting to be working with the Faroe Islands as a tourist destination because I truly believe in the potential of this destination for the future. It is so authentic and unspoiled, and that's what I think that a lot of people are looking for these days, you know, going back to the basics, but still having a destination that's modern. Mm-hmm. So that's what I find really interesting and appealing about this destination. So,
where are and what are the Faroe Islands?
Well, there are 18 beautiful islands there, and they're placed in the middle of the North Atlantic, in between Iceland and Norway and Scotland. And the Faroe Islands have been a self-governing country within the Danish realm since 1948. And the name is said to be, or mean, the Sheep Islands. That comes from the Sheep Islands, and we actually have more sheep in the Faroe Islands than we do have people. We have about 70 or 80,000 sheep, and we are about 50,000 people. Okay. So that's the reason.
What's the weather like up there? Is it chilly?
It's actually not as chilly as you could think it was, because the overall character of the island's climate is influenced by the strong warming influence of the Atlantic Ocean, and that produces the North Atlantic current. So the winters are mild and the summers cool, with an average temperature of 3 or 4 degrees in the wintertime and about 10 degrees in the summertime. It can also be more, but that's the general temperature. So it's, it is windy and it's cloudy and rainy. But people don't come here for the weather, but a lot of other reasons. And when it's rainy, our tourists always mention the beautiful waterfalls that we have, hundreds and hundreds. And it's really a stunning view to see that. So this is not Mallorca, but something different.
It appeals to me because I get grumpy if it gets over 10 degrees. I find that too hot, so perhaps I should move up there.
Oh, you should come. I'm sure you would like it.
What's the brief history of the islands?
Well, archaeological evidence has been found of settlers living in the Faroe Islands from the year 400, but it was actually discovered recently because before we've always thought that there were Irish monks. It was Irish monks that came here first in the early 9th century. And then the Norwegian Vikings came to the Faroe Islands, and so they are actually the people that live here today actually derive from the Old Norse people that came here, and actually that's why our language derives from the Old Norse language as well, which today is the Faroese language. So, but if you look at the DNA of the people, you can see that the majority of the DNA of the male come from the Norwegians, and the majority of the DNA of the female comes from Ireland. So that tells us something about the way the Vikings came to the Faroe Islands. They took with them some Irish or Scottish women and came up here about 1,000 years ago.
That's quite a mix.
Yeah.
You mentioned about your ancient language. I struggle with English, which is my own language, and I struggle when I go abroad because I can't pronounce anything. Somebody as bad as me, would I still be able to get by just being able to speak English?
Yeah, definitely. That's no problem at all. I think that the people of the Faroe Islands are very friendly, and they really try their best to, both in English and in other languages like Scandinavian or German and so on. So that's what we always hear from the tourists, and that's certainly not a problem, even though that not everyone speaks English fluently. But people are always said to be very friendly, and they really try to help out and so on. So no worries, you're welcome to come and visit us, and I'm sure that they will take good care of you, all of them.
Oh, good, I hope so. How do we get there from the UK, and how long does it take?
In the summertime, there's a direct flight from London Stansted, and that's I think it's from the 5th of June to last August, 25th of August, I think. And that's on Mondays and Thursdays, and it's operated by the company Atlantic Airways. Otherwise, there is a great connection via Copenhagen throughout the year, at least twice daily. So, but there is only one airline operating to the Faroe Islands, and that is Atlantic Airways. It's a Faroese company. But it's easy accessible to come here. They also fly from Norway and Iceland and so on. But the most easy one is via Copenhagen, as they operate various times a day.
Okay. With somebody from the UK, is there any entry requirements? Do they need a visa or anything?
No, not at all. It's just normal passport requirements as in the EU, and also when it comes to the EHIC card, there's actually an old agreement between Denmark and the UK on health insurance, and I think it's from the 1960s or something. And this agreement is also applicable for the Faroe Islands, and it's still valid. So there are no worries if you get sick in the Faroe Islands.
Okay.
People will take care of you.
When I think about the Faroe Islands, all that really comes to mind is football, because you seem to play Scotland a lot, and whaling. But why would anybody want to visit the islands?
Oh, well, there are plenty of reasons. The Faroe Islands are characterized by an incredibly fresh and clean air and green grass that even grows on the rooftops of people's houses. And there are dramatic landscapes with steep mountains and fjords and rich bird life, coastal villages with colorful houses and clean and tasty water. And great food. You'll be able to eat seafood from the cleanest ocean in the world, and lamb, and well, there are just plenty of possibilities, and there are cozy shops and cafes in the capital, and beautiful, beautiful nature on the outlying islands, and there's a good combination of things, I think, and it's a big contrast to the stressful cities of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
We do have something of those things that people are looking for today, tranquility and mindfulness, and finding and discovering yourself again from the stress and traffic jams and so on. This is something completely different. It's like going back to basics, but still in modern, in a modern country.
Gary Fitz here, every Monday, 10 o'clock.
Coming up, we've got Eric and Ernie.
Join me here on Seclo Sounds.
In your smile. It's from 1975. Eric and Ernie were four.
Gary, it's not Eric and Ernie, it's Earl and Ernie, the Cape Brothers, Union Man.
Oh, I see.
Gary Fitz here, every Monday, 10 o'clock.
Earl and Ernie.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Still to come, travel news, including a story from Wizz Air about the way they're allocating seats. But at the moment I'm speaking to Guri from the Faroe Islands Tourist Board. I do hope I pronounced the name correctly. We've already found out that it's the ideal place to go if you want to chillax and get away from the stresses of modern life. We're going to talk a little bit more about the regions and the islands to see which ones should be visited by a UK tourist.
I think you said there was 18 islands, and I'm pretty sure they're split into 6 regions. Which ones are best suited for tourists?
Oh, they're well, actually, almost all of them are worth a visit because they vary so much. I mean, you have the high mountains up north and the lower islands. When you go more south, and there, some of them are bigger and some are very small. Some of them only have like one family living on one island, and so they're just very, very, they vary a lot. Mm-hmm. And there are plenty of villages that are must-sees when you come here, and that's with natural phenomena. With just beautiful, beautiful landscapes. I can mention the island of Mykonos, which is the westernmost island, with all the puffins, for instance. And I can mention a small village called Jegs, which is up north on the island of Estrøy, and Saxon, which is another beautiful, beautiful village on the island of Streymoy, which is the biggest island. It's often used as a film location for ads. I know it's been used in some English ad as well for glasses and for Carlsberg. I think it was Specsavers or something it's called.
Okay.
And it's just very, it just doesn't look like anything else you've seen before. And there are plenty of villages. I love the southernmost island, Suðuroy, which has beautiful nature, and it's very accessible, that island. You can also come with wheelchair and everything, and totally up to the mountains, and you can see the birds, and there are just so many different possibilities. And of course you have to see the capital as well. It's one of the smallest capitals in the world, but it still has cozy cafes and local designer shops that sell knitted products from local produce. You probably know the sweater from the series The Killing. It was designed by 2 girls that have their shop here in Tórshavn, and there are just plenty of different possibilities. So there are many things to do.
When's the best time of year to visit? You said about the summertime there's a direct flight, but does it matter what time of year you go?
No, it's possible to come all year. It's just that, we do have the most of the tourists here in the summertime. That's when it's most busy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people come here because they like to see birds. And of course, if you want to see birds, you have to come in the summertime. And also, if you like to see the the light, the total daylight of almost 24 hours, you have to come in the summertime. But actually you can visit all year, and except from the bird watching, you can do a lot of other things like getting all the cultural elements. You can dive, you